Hi and welcome to Chef's Gear. If you haven't been to Greece, well, you won't go this year probably, but I have the next best thing. Today we're gonna do some pita souvlaki, so let's check it out. Before we even get started, as usual, let's prepare a drink first. So, what is Greece famous for? Well, definitely ouzo. So once a fisherman told me it's best to serve it warm and you just drink it straight from the bottle, but we won't do that. I will do it on rocks. So if you haven't tried ouzo, it has a very distinctive aniseed flavor. It's sweetish and there's gonna be some magical thing happening. So if you observe the drink, it is clear when you pour it, but with contact in water, it will go nice and cloudy. So let's just give it a small stir. Perfect aperitif. All right, now we can start cooking. First, we're gonna make some pita bread. Of course, you can buy a ready pita bread just to be heated up, but it's so much better and it's so easy to make it by yourself. All you need to do the pita bread is some plain flour, dry or fresh yeast, some lukewarm water, a tablespoon of salt and a tablespoon of sugar. And that's all it is, just a drop of olive oil as well. First, you want to activate the yeast, so you just pour it in a mixer. You can do it by hand as well, but it's so much easier in a machine. So you just crumble all the yeast inside. If you're using dry yeast, you're probably 1.5 teaspoons. If you're using fresh yeast, about 15 to 20 grams is the amount you need. So let's just close it down. Stir it through. Give it a quick stir. Make sure it all dissolves. When you see the water frothing up a little bit, it means the yeast is activated and you can add all your dry ingredients. All right, so let's open it up and add all our dried ingredients. So I'm adding flour, sugar, salt, and a dash of olive oil. I haven't seen how much water you need, 1.5 cup. So it's about 400 mils for 500 grams of flour. So then turn on your mixer and make sure you combine all the ingredients into a really smooth and thick dough. When the dough is smooth and it's not sticking to the walls of the machine anymore, you can take it out. Make sure you dust it a little bit so it doesn't stick to your board or your workbench. Do a little bit of kneading. Make sure there's no lumps in it. And the dough is like nice and smooth, elastic and soft. Dust it a little bit, form a little bowl, just like so. And then you need approximately 1.5 hours or about an hour for the dough to rest and rise. So it's good to cover with a tea towel, like a damp cloth of sorts. So this is how it should look like after an hour. It should double its size. So then you just knock it down, take it out of the bowl, give it another knead. Oh, that's really nice. Just roll it into a tube. This makes portioning much easier. So you just want some equal slices, probably around 90 to 100 grams a portion. So it's something like that. Form little balls out of it, and then we have to roll it into shape. That's the ball. Dust your bench a little bit so it doesn't stick. Take a rolling pin and just roll it. You want them probably around 0.5 centimeter thick, and of course it needs to fit your pan. Work it with your hands a little bit. Just make sure you stretch the gluten out, stretch the edges. You don't want the edges to be too thick. All right, so once you got them to about 0.5 centimeter thick, they're ready to be fried. You need a dash of olive oil, not too much. All right, so when the pan is nice and hot, you just drop your pita bread inside. Make sure you spread it nice and even on the surface of the pan. You'll see in a second how the dough is bubbling up from the heat from the bottom. That's already the sign that the bottom is ready. Just give it a few more seconds. When you see the bubbles are getting a little bit bigger, that's probably the time to turn it. You can do it by hand, just like so. Turn it upside down, push it to the bottom of the pan, so you get nice and even coloring. And give it another 1 or 2 minutes. All right, I think the bottom is done as well. Let's check it. Yeah. And a good thing to do is just drizzle of olive oil. That makes the pita a little bit softer. You don't want it crunchy because you're gonna roll your souvlaki into that bread. So just turn it around, give it another drizzle. Now that you have a beautiful stack of pita breads, it's time to work on the second ingredient, which is the tzatziki. Tzatziki is a very basic dressing recipe, but then again, there's a couple of things I want to show you how to make it a little bit better. Well, you need a Greek-style yogurt, you need cucumbers, of course, you need garlic and lemon juice. But the mistake I've seen many times made in the restaurants and at homes as well, that people just put all the ingredients all together, and after a while it's just like a really soggy and runny paste, sort of. I don't know what it is. So the good thing is to drain your yogurt and your cucumbers. So first of all, take these. You can buy muslin cloths. You have them in your first aid kit. Just make sure you replenish those. You take 2 of these, or 1, or folded, doesn't really matter. Put your yogurt into that sheet, just like so. Take a piece of string, just pick up all the corners of the muslin cloth, just make a bag out of it. And with your string, you can take a piece of rubber, doesn't really matter. Just hold it there and tie it around. Doesn't need to be a sailor's knot, make sure it's just tied so it doesn't fall. A simple knot on the outside. So once you've done that, take a bamboo skewer, poke through the bag, make sure you take a bit of string as well, and hang it somewhere. Take a container, just like that, and hang it so it doesn't touch the bottom, because you want to drain all the juices. And you basically do the same with your cucumber. And a good thing to do is to de-seed the cucumber as well, because most of the water is in those seeds. So you take the seeds out. The best way to do it is with your spoon. So for around 400 grams of yogurt, you probably need 1 large cucumber. And in most recipes, you'll see the cucumber is to be peeled. I leave the skin on because the most nutritious elements are in the skin. Besides, it gives a little bit of texture. And when you drain it overnight with a little bit of salt, the skin will soften up, so it's not much of a problem. And it gives a little bit of color contrast. So just grate it. Make sure you grate it on those large eyes. I'm chopping my garlic in as well. So you need to chop it really fine, but don't powderize it. And then just give it a rough chop. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it on my cucumbers, and I'm gonna put my seasoning on it. So lots of salt and pepper. And because the salt is hygroscopic, so it drains the moisture out, it's gonna soften up the garlic, get rid of all the bitterness inside, and of course it's going to drain all the water. So the next step is you just pick up all the corners as you did with the yogurt. Make sure you tie it really tightly, and you do the trick with a skewer as well. All right, just like that. See how much juice is already in the bowl? That's what you want to get rid of, otherwise, as I said, your tzatziki will be really slurry and thin. You just put it in your fridge for a few hours, at least 2 hours to drain all the water. So that's my cucumber. I already emptied the glass like a couple of times over the last few hours. Same for the yogurt. Squeeze the bag a little bit. Look how much water is still inside. So you want to get rid of all that water. Same for the cucumbers. Just squeeze the water out. Now get the grated cucumber with garlic into the bowl as well. Salt and pepper, a drop of olive oil, and of course lemon juice, just for balance. You don't need much. And now all you need to do is just stir it through. We have tzatziki ready. Time for our meat. For souvlaki, you can do a couple of varieties. Of course, you can do it with poultry, with chicken breast or thighs, but you can do pork as well. And when you're doing pork, the neck is probably the best cut to do it with. Season it up. I'm just going to use salt, cracked pepper, and I'm going to use my own gyro seasoning. You can make your own. You can buy it already in a packet. Add a little bit of olive oil for lubrication. And best when you use your own hand to stir it up and you cover the meat completely with your seasoning. Let's get a pan on, click, and you want to do it on high heat very quickly. You don't want to do it for too long because then your pork is going to dry out. Dash of olive oil on the pan. So when the pan is hot, just put the meat in all at once. Give it a stir every now and then, and give it another minute or two to caramelize. Let's add a secret ingredient. Just a dash to get the flavor in. One more stir, deglaze the pan. After 4 to 5 minutes, the meat is ready. So let's just turn it off. Then you take the pita bread. Let's start with tzatziki first. Then you take a little bit of salad, a couple of tomatoes, a couple of cucumbers, just like so. A little bit of onion, red onion is best for it. And then just put your meat on it. And now it's the hardest part. Now you have to try to roll it up. And this is your pita souvlaki, homemade. Few minutes. Well, I hope you enjoyed this trip to Greece. I hope you enjoyed the recipe. If you did, just click the like button. Let me know what other recipes you want to get tried out. Well, to be up to date, just click the subscribe button to see more of our recipes. I thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope I see you next time.